record. Here, there we go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Balls in Your Face. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I don't speak good. It's as if my mouth gets filled with the cotton balls. Well, fortunately, we are all in for a treat. I have none other than the magnificent, absolutely brilliant, and downright lovely Lila Smith, and she's going to teach us how to say things better. Lila, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to help people with the balls in their mouth. Cotton balls.
The cotton ball. Oh, I love it when that happens.
Say Things Better is a 5-step method that I developed based on my acting training and my personal values. So in acting, actors come to the stage with a script in hand, ready to rehearse and prepare a scene that other people will eventually see in an audience. And in that process, we have to bring so much of our own lives, our own context to the scene so that it looks real, so that what these fictional characters are saying in these words that somebody else has written sound like they're coming from us. So we have to show up as our fullest selves in order to make that even appear a little bit normal. I've been trained in the Stanislavski system and the Lee Strasberg method and Stella Adler and Sandy Meisner technique. So all of these things have formed my context as an actress, and I performed professionally for 10 years in New York City and around the United States. So it's with that experience that I took these tools for creating a very active fiction by bringing truth to it, and now removing that fiction, removing the script, helping people to use those same tools to communicate effectively. So Say Things Better was born from that. It's 5 steps. It's actually a method in and of itself. And then the 5th step of that is where the Verb Your Values workshop was born. So that 5th step being communicative action. So based on Stella Adler's actions, for those of the people who are listening or watching are in the theater space, Stella Adler's actions are something you want to do to your scene partner with your communication. And so for me, it's not a scene partner, it's a communication partner. So those verbs being a purposeful extension of what your values are. What is important for you to make sure that other people feel when they're communicating with you? To me, in general, to connect, to affirm, to empower are my 3 main power verbs that I use in my communication with anybody at any time. That's me as a brand, as a business, as a person, but every company also has values. You see a mission statement, something that they say about why they started to begin with, what it is that's important to them, and how they treat their employees, what they want their customers to know. There could be hundreds of touch points within an organization where communication can get muddied if it's not purposeful.
Here you are, somebody who has taken your previous interests, all of your training, niched it down so beautifully, so specifically in such a unique value offer that's very clear, that's very distinct. I don't know anybody who's doing what you do, who comes from that sort of theater background and has now kind of converted that into a business communications training methodology. Like nobody's done it. So I think just in terms of, just the lesson there of honing in again on what your value, and that's another sort of key thing I think of what you're talking about there, right? Like you identified what were your strengths. You identified, what did you know, better than a lot of people, and then incorporated that with your values and created something that's so specific to you. I think just in and of itself, that is such a great lesson and example for people who are looking to build their own business, branch out on their own, trying to figure out, what are they going to do because they just lost their job maybe. I think there's just so much value in just that.
people don't always purchase on the first time that they see something, but they'll carry information that they retain, and sometimes they'll even bring it up in conversation with other people. So those people now have been exposed to something. It's like that game of telephone.
Right.
Do you know that? Did you ever play? Do you
Of
have
course.
that in Canada?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you have this game where you whisper something to the person next to you. They say that same thing as they heard it to the person next to them, and so on until it comes all the way around. Almost always, when it comes to the person who's next to you on the other side, it comes out as a completely different message. So not only is it important for you to be so clear in your original communication, knowing that it will get diluted, but you might even want to like maximize that impact as much as you can. Drill it in by using those visuals. You know, I've seen videos that you've done, you know, spectacularly with this that are probably better than anybody else's, at least that I know, where you have the visuals, you have the things coming in, and you got the things coming up, and you've got this framing that's repeated, that's memorable. You know, I know what the BIYF like colored backdrop thing looks like at the beginning of a video. So I know it when I see it. Oh, look, that person must have interviewed with Julian. That person must have, you know, done a video with them. That your branding is specific, that it's repeated, and that it frames things in a way that is memorable, and that I am directed to what I should be paying attention to. My focus watching your videos is directed to each point that I should know.
You can also even get even sort of more surreptitious and say, okay, well, the people who are into, who might advocate for me because, you know, also support, might listen to this podcast, read this book, like this author, drink this beer, you know, whatever it is, right? Like understanding, you know, who are your, like, you know, who are going to be your champions of your brand and why. And then you can go after them, and then it's such a less expensive targeting, because everybody's just, you know, by default, everybody just thinks, okay, I want the decision maker, I want the CEO, I want, you know, the high income earners, and everybody's going for that. So guess what? It's more expensive.
And I always say that benefits are stronger than pain. Like
Yes.
if you say that like freedom from the pain is so much stronger than like the pain will, you know, stop, that like there's a positive statement that you can make in anything. And if you pursue that positive statement, you're taking somebody into a place where they know you make them feel good. My
objective is to help people, to connect with people in a meaningful way, that good things will come. I don't think about the sales, to be honest. Like it's not like that's a thing. It's like if I have a call with somebody and at the end of it, they've been like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's been really helpful to me. I'm happy.
So would you say that you verb your values before you get on the call? That you're like, I'm going to connect. And even if you're not conscious about it, I think that it is your philosophy, it is who you are. But sometimes people forget, especially if they are in a high stress situation like sales, you know, when they're commission motivated. And I have a lot of empathy for salespeople. So actually I have a very different approach. I know a lot of people get turned off when they're sold to right away, and they will like decline a LinkedIn invitation, or they'll say something nasty back, like, buy me dinner first, would you? You know, like, before you put your balls in my face. But you named this.
It's got Z on the end of balls and it stands for bold and living life zealously. I don't know what people are so upset. This is what happens when two communicators get together. We could go on and on and on and on.
Forever.
I've got big balls. I've got big